The guru is live with aggressive contract terms.
Here we go. It's already Friday morning. This week has just went by like crazy. The market is flying. It's amazing what's happening out there. And getting buyers to have an accepted offer is even harder than ever before. And that's why we're talking about aggressive offers. How do you make your offer more aggressive, more tantalizing, more titillating, if you will, more aggressive than anybody else, because you know you're facing about 20, 30, 40 dozen other people out there in the marketplace. You're facing cash offers, people with huge down payments, people that are overbidding. And how do you face that when your client can't overbid so far? And how do you keep it where they are still getting a good deal for the house in this crazy seller's market? We're taking this thing apart today. We're going to talk about aggressive offers and how you can win the offer for your client right after this.
So, Rod, what does it mean? 7 minutes to a new career.
Well, in 7 minutes, we can have a cup of coffee, we can talk career goals, and how we're going to help you make the biggest career move in your life.
That's right. There's a lot of things that Mountain Hood Realty has to offer, and Rod is a ball of energy.
I love the career, and I want to share with you my passion for building your business bigger than you ever thought it could be.
Come spend 7 minutes with us. We look forward to it.
Talk to you soon.
The guru is back with escalation clauses.
Okay, we're talking aggressive offers. Everybody grab their cup of coffee, because we are talking the concepts of aggressive offers that tend to make people a little nervous. It tends to make people even angry on the other side. Your client can be nervous. The other side can be angry about it. It gets a little crazy out there, but we keep our cool hat on. We can pull this off. Let's talk escalation clauses. Now, this is a controversial topic. There's a lot of people in the market that absolutely, and I'm going to use the term, hate them. A lot of people in the market simply feel like they shouldn't exist. Now, there's a good way to write an escalation clause and a bad way to write an escalation clause. Today's not the day to talk about how to write the escalation clauses. We have other videos on escalation clause concepts. But one way to be aggressive in the market is to include an escalation clause. So what is an escalation clause? An escalation clause is that thing where it starts off with, and let's just say $400,000. And you say, we will go up in $1,000 increments above any offer that comes in up to a maximum of, let's just say $420,000. So the problem is you are showing your hand. And this is part of the problem. And part of what the other side hates about them is, well, if you can afford 420, why aren't you somebody bidding 420? Because everybody wants a good deal in the market. Anyway, so escalation clauses, they are a good tool to have in your tool belt in this crazy market. Probably half the brokers out there don't like them. You probably need to call and say, will you entertain an escalation clause? Is that something that you will consider? And you may have to explain to them how it works, because they can be complicated. And let's remember that if you're doing a buyer, which is where you'd use an escalation clause always, not on the seller side, you would always call them and say, look, here's how it works, recognizing that the seller might have 30 offers on the table. I've never seen a market so crazy to have so many offers on the market. And, it's not just money anymore. It's not just, that's why we're talking aggressive offers, because there's all kinds of ways to sweeten the deal that might make it better for the seller to accept your offer. All right, let me grab a sip of coffee this morning. I hope you got your coffee. It's a Friday and we are moving forward. Okay, next way to get aggressive. Shortened timelines. Shortened timelines. Can you shorten the period from offer acceptance to closing and money in the pocket of the seller? Now, there is a way to do this. Of course, you're going to have a completed lender application. If you don't have a completed lender application, you're definitely not shortening the timeline. You might shorten something like something internal to it. So that internal component, like an inspection period, but that doesn't really shorten the timeline. Ultimately, I mean, it's a sweetener. Shortening periods of inspection, and we're going to talk, are absolutely sweeteners, but it doesn't shorten the whole period. To shorten the whole period, you're going to have to talk to the lender. Get the lender on board, get a fully approved application in your buyer's pocket. This is a way you can absolutely shorten things. Also, waive repairs. Okay, let's talk about the concept of waiving repairs. Again, a very controversial topic, but something we have to start to deal with when it comes to aggressive offers. Never, from your guru, never waive your inspection ability, because the inspection puts the buyer on notice of what they want. But you might want to waive that you'll request any repairs. This is a manner in which to strategize. You cannot waive the appraisal and the repairs requested by the appraisal. You can't waive that, but you can waive your own repairs and what you would request. Okay, so you've got a little strategy going on here. You know the minimums are going to be taken care of probably on the appraisal. You kind of cross our fingers there. Some appraisers are better than others. We all know that. Just like some inspectors are better than others. You can waive the fact that you will request any repairs. You're not waiving the fact that you might walk away from the whole deal. You're just not going to ask for a repair. Which, let me tell you, the trick here behind the scene is you say, thank you so much. I said I wouldn't request any repair. I'm walking away. And you file with them to walk away. Often, the other side, in order to keep the deal on the table, will say, hold on. Is there something I can do for you? Well, now, I said I wouldn't request any repairs, but if you would like to keep the deal alive and on the table, here's what you do. Now, you can't guarantee that, because they do have other offers. In this market, you have to assume they have a bunch of other offers on the table, and they're reviewing everything. So always be aware there's likely many other offers sitting on the table. Okay, let me get another sip of coffee this morning. Take a minute and like the show. It's a Friday. Make my weekend and like the show. Pardon me. So take a second, like the show. Also, send me a comment. How do you sweeten the offer better than someone else? Of course, understanding the mental, what's going on mentally with the seller would be wonderful. We don't always know that. But how do you, send me a comment, how do you sweeten the offer? What do you do to do it? Because we are in such a competitive offer situation right now that how do you sweeten something? That is just so difficult. Also, I would love it if you'd follow us on social media. And if you're at YouTube, on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and it opens up something special for you. It opens up the Guru members only events where we help you build your business larger than ever imagined before. All right. Offer the seller to stay past the closing date. Now, this is something that lots of sellers want. They're pushed on a timeline. They can hardly believe that they're having to get out, and they think they're going to have to go rent an apartment because they sold their house and their other one's not ready to go. They really don't know what to do. In your offer to sweeten it, and you got to make it bold in there, that you will work with them for a month. maybe with no rent back. Now, be careful. You're going to want them to keep insurance on the property. Absolutely. You're going to want them to keep insurance on the property. But one way to sweeten it is to offer it with no rent back. I would love to hear from you in the comments. What do you think about offering something for 2, 3, 4 weeks with no rent back? What does that mean to you? Where's the risk? Where's the liability? Where is the sweetener in this? Well, the sweetener is, I guess, it might be pretty obvious if you're on the seller side. If you're on the buyer's side, you've got to be thinking about how do you get a home. People might exchange. Follow me on this. They might exchange more money on the table for time to do something. This can often be done where people say, well, I like this offer over here, but they want me out of the house on the 30th. This other offer over here says I can have until the 15th of the next month at no charge. It's not quite as much on the table, but they're willing to work with me on time. Time to get out. Time to move is an exciting thing for people. Time to move is one of those things that people might lower the price of the home in exchange to get it. Wow, that's an aggressive offer. That is really pushing it to an aggressive level and using it to your best abilities. Now, we all know the general rule out there is that you have to take possession under most loan types within 60 days. So be aware of that. Be cautious with it. There's always those pieces sitting out there on timelines. And nowadays, lenders are watching. Lenders are watching, so be cautious with it. Okay, so have the lender talk to the seller. This is nice. Have the lender talk to the seller about the buyer and tell them exactly how well qualified they are to close this deal. Hearing from someone else, as an agent, we're always willing to say, we can close this deal. We're going to do it. We're going to keep the wheels on the bus. We're going to keep everything moving. Yeah, well, that's you representing your person zealously. It's that Article 1 of ethics. You're a zealous advocate. Okay, and we have to be honest and true to the best of our knowledge and all, and you still can be. And yet it is more meaningful coming from someone else, like a lender. If the lender calls the seller and starts talking to them about that they can actually close this, and they get into the particulars about it, about that this person is pre-approved, they've already been through, personally underwriting, all they have to do is add the house to it, and the appraisal, and they're set to go, and they have appraisers ready to go, and they're not going to be in a 6 or 8 week waiting line for an appraiser. Some of these things can be lined up well in advance. This is how you really get aggressive with your offer. And you can, by the way, you can combine some of these things together. Like you can do a shortened timeline. Think about this for a second. Think about this on a Friday as you're going into a weekend. You're going to be showing homes, the few homes that are available in this market, which is crazy few. Well, think about doing, if they'll accept it, think about doing a clause that allows you to escalate. That escalation clause we started with, and a shortened timeline. Because you can combine these things together, and now you've got a powerhouse of an offer. You've got an offer that even though it may not be the highest price on the table, it might be the most powerful offer. Now, of course, what you want to do is you want to call up the other agent and have a conversation with them. Let's start learning about what are the motives. You want to go through the standard thing of motive, intent. What are the interests as to what's going on? Identify the issues and the problems happening. What are the pressure points? If you can get the other agent to reveal a couple pressure points here, this is where you can craft your offer so wonderfully wrapped around the pressure points, the motives, the interest, the intent, the timelines of the seller. In this market, the best offers out there. I'm talking, you want to be the best? The best offers are wrapping themselves around the timelines, interests, and motives of the seller. I know we can't forget about our poor little buyer. We can't forget about the buyer who we're actually representing. But part of representing our buyer is aligning for them a manner in which to win. I want you to win for your buyer. We are in a service industry. Of course, I want you to grow your business bigger than I ever imagined. Okay, we've all got that. But how do you do it? You do it through service. You do it through credibility. You do it through trust with your client and having conversation. You're not breaking any rules. I would never suggest you to break a rule. Of course not. But you might want to have a conversation with the other side that begins to reveal some of the motives, interests, and intents, timelines going on with the other side. You may learn they have a timeline that is extended, that they need to be in that home an extra 21 days, 30 days. That you may need to extend something out a ways. Or they may need their money. They may need to close up front so they have their money so they can finish a deal that they couldn't otherwise finish. You know, some deals cannot be simultaneously closed. We like to think as agents that we have like this magic pixie dust and that we can close everything simultaneously. And yet there are some deals simply are not going to work. These won't close simultaneously. There are problems and events that stand in the way of a simultaneous closing. And therefore, you might need to close yours up front. Allow the people to be in the home after using an escalation clause to help you get into this thing. And now you're allowing timelines to help you. And suddenly you have the sweetest offer on the table. But now you've got to make the seller aware of this. You've got to be bold with your conditions. In the contract, you've got to come out bold. We're talking being aggressive. It's a Friday. We're going into a weekend where I want you to win, win, win. I want you to win for your client. I want you to win for yourselves. And I want you to win for the whole package that's out there. 3 types of winning, and I want you to do every one of them. The only way to do that is get very aggressive. We are in a market that people are losing. By the way, there's an Inman article this morning talking about that we have the lowest confidence since 2010 that this is a good time to buy. And why is that? I believe, this is your guru speaking, I believe people have lost confidence that they can win an offer because the market is crazy hot. When you've got 30 or 40 offers coming into a home, how can you win? You've got to talk to your buyer that you can win the offer. And here's the tools you're putting on the table. And they likely have worked with other agents before, and they will have not seen these types of aggressive tools. By the way, let me talk to you about this real briefly. We go over aggressive tools in our Kickstarter program. Right down here in the banner, we have a link to our Kickstarter program. One of the things that we coach on and go over and have a whole module component on is aggressive ways to win an offer. This is something we coach for because this market isn't ending anytime soon. And you always have to have aggressive toolkits, aggressive tool sets on your tool belt. I don't care what kind of market it is. Someday we're going to be back in a buyer's market. Just wait and see. Of course, we're going to be back there in a few years. And you're going to still need aggressive toolkits Because remember, in a buyer's market, it's just the opposite. It's where you have very few buyers, and you have a ton of homes for sale. Well, that's not like today, where we have almost nothing for sale. But in a buyer's market, you have a ton of homes for sale. Well, aggressive toolkits will simply be flipped on their head and used in reverse. We'll be talking about that on another show. But right now we're talking about getting the offer from the buyer over to the seller accepted. And one way we have, well, multiple ways we have to do it. And that is through aggressive means of acceptance. And that is aligning ourselves with the seller's motives, intents, and interests. This is incredibly important to align ourselves. All right, one more sip of coffee this morning. Time is burning on us. All right, we're going to go into something that people are uncomfortable with. Remember, we started off with the uncomfortable escalation clause. And now we're going to go into something that people are very uncomfortable with. Offer a bonus to the seller. And you've got to know several things going into this. There's a way to offer the bonus to the seller. Remember, we're in a hot market now. This is a crazy hot market. You offer a bonus to the seller. Like, for example, you might release half the earnest money to them for simply accepting your offer. You can release it early and simply say, you accepted our offer. No matter what happens, here's the earnest money. Here's half the earnest money. There's other aggressive ways to do this. You can offer bonus money for simply reviewing the offer, but there's a whole criteria you'd want to prove for reviewing and what's going on there. We're not going to go into that today. But think about it today, that you are releasing earnest money or bonus money above and beyond. So you have your earnest money. Let's just say it's $5,000. And you can say to the seller, we will give you an extra $2,000 for accepting our offer. This is up and above and beyond the price of the home. Obviously, it's part of the price of the home. By the way, that's the secret behind the scene. It's obviously part of the price, but technically, your buyer's going to have some cash to pull this off. But this is being worked with. This is being done. If you haven't seen it, this is an aggressive tool to get people to accept their offer. They're offering bonus money. This is how crazy the market has gotten. They're offering bonus money for accepting it. So you got the $400,000 house, and they say $5,000 earnest money. And if you accept our offer, we will release to you an additional $2,000, $1,000, whatever it is, just using 2,000 as an example, to you for accepting our offer directly over to the seller. You're simply paying them for the acceptance of the offer. Wow, that is crazy. Have you ever seen a market so hot that we're willing to pay people? Now, you have seen this one. And by the way, I'd love to hear from you in your comments. What do you think about bonus money? Have you used bonus money before? Have you won the deal with bonus money? I know it's very controversial. Before I get all those angry comments at me, like, how can you possibly be promoting bonus money? Well, it's not against the law. It's not against the code. It's not against our license. You can use it, but there's a lot of people out there that feel like it's just too edgy. Are you willing to be edgy to win for your client? Okay, well, one more sip of coffee here. What about offer the listing agent a bonus? Because you can also offer the listing agent a bonus. Now, this is tricky because you have to reveal over to the homeowner that you're offering this, or at least the listing agent is going to have to reveal it. one way or another. You have to reveal to all parties this is being offered. So you can offer $500, $1,000, whatever it is, over to the listing agent to entreat them to treat your offer better than others, to at least take a serious look at it, and if accepted, you know what? There's an extra little piece sitting out there for you. Well, a lot of people don't like this. I know. It's an aggressive term. This is tough this morning. I'd love to hear from you in your comments. By the way, don't forget to hit the like on the show. But I would also love to hear from you in your comments. What are you doing in this market that has gotten so crazy? I've actually heard people do the following. They have decided to nearly give up. They have simply said, you know what? I'm taking a vacation. I'm stepping back for a few months. There's just nothing available. We're gonna live on my partner's, my spouse's income. They're simply stepping back. Now is not the time to step back. The market is still selling things. You can win. You can absolutely win. But this is going to take some coaching to your buyer. It might take coaching over to the seller, the seller's agent, and then to the seller's homeowner as well. It might take coaching to all parties on how some of these terms actually work. Because remember, escalation clauses are certainly not the most liked thing out there. Particularly when you have 30 offers and you've got 1 or 2 or 3 that have escalation clauses, and then you have other really good offers that are sitting out there, who wins can be difficult to tell, because all terms are not in just raw money. They're in dates and timelines, closing times, and what they're going to waive and what they're not going to waive. So all the different conditions pulled together make this a difficult market. But now is not the time to step away. Now is the time to hone in your skills. Now is the time to talk with your buyer about aggressive terms and show them how you can bring something to the table and how you can win for them in the hottest market we've had in over 30 years. This is the lowest inventory we have on record. And if you can show you can win in this market, you will get referrals in the future like never before. You will get referrals because you will show that you are willing to think out of the box. You are willing to use tools, and you are willing to get edgy. This is Real Estate Daily. I'm your real estate guru, and we are here to grow your business bigger than ever imagined. And we're going into a hot weekend. Let's make it happen. I'll see you shortly.